To Power Talk. Take it away, Joe.
Okay, well, thank you. This is going to be one of the last talks for Earth Month. My angle is looking at where science and spirituality are coming together to support each other's solutions for solving the Earth's problematic ecosystem. I think the seriousness of climate change with the floods and the fires and extinction of species are all obvious today, so we don't have to talk anymore about that. Also, most of what needs to happen to reverse the human impact of our ecosystem is also well known, although most of us don't always do all that we could. For example, I drive a gasoline car. I like the temperature in my house to be 68 degrees or warmer in the winter. And I don't always think about the sustainability of products and foods that I buy. And there's much more. But there are some people that have much greater impact, and these people are the government leaders. For example, we recently had a government leader that did all he could to weaken the Environmental Protection Agency, diminish the clean air and water pollution regulations, and remove us from the Paris World Climate Accord. And like his supporters, chooses to deny in order to profit. So one of the most significant ways that we can make a difference and have an impact on the health of the planet is when we vote. Of course, we should also be praying for the health of the planet, and we need to love ourselves, as Michelle mentioned in the first talk this month. We also talk about how we need to love ourselves before we can love others, but this is also true about loving our planet. I often think about the people who I see throwing cigarette butts on the ground and realize that they don't care that much about their own health. So why would they be concerned about the environment's health? Now, science has proven that the environmental damage is caused by humans, and it's now supporting a spiritual perspective as science is discovering how everything is connected and interdependent. Spiritual ecology is one of the emerging fields, recognizing that there is a spiritual facet to all issues related to conservation, environmentalism, and earth stewardship. Despite this dissimilar arenas of focus, the principles of spiritual ecology are simple. To resolve such environmental issues as global warming, overconsumption, humanity must examine and reassess the underlying attitudes and beliefs that the earth is our spiritual responsibility that we have towards the planet. The thinking that more good years of science could address the environmental problems is not likely when the top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. And to deal with these, we need a cultural and spiritual transformation. Now, quantum science is forcing more scientists to recognize that consciousness is behind everything in the earth and the cosmos. We have learned in quantum physics that the stuff that makes the visible physical world, the separate boundaries, having mass occupying a location, a specific time and space, are not what they appear to be. These attributes are all in the minds, brains, and consciousness of the observer. Quantum physics has proven when there is a conscious observer, energy fields change from an energy wave to a particle with a location that has a physical property. In other words, things don't actually exist until there's a conscious observer. This discovery caused Einstein to remark, "I like to think the moon is there even when I'm not looking at it." It has also led a small number of scientists to question if consciousness is necessary for life or even the existence of the earth and the stuff in the universe. This connection between people, creative consciousness, and environmental science is also called quantum consciousness. Like our spiritual principle state and quantum scientists sometimes believe, is that the earth is a creation of a conscious universe, And it's our awareness, observation, and actions that will determine the fate and future of the living environment. Now, to keep this talk short, I skipped all the details and proofs of these controversial statements that I just made. But I'll give you two of the sources that I used, and they are books written by Manis Kafatos, a PhD in physicist. One of the books is The Conscious Universe, and the other book is what he wrote with Deepak Chopra as a co-author, and it's called You Are the Universe. And I'll put these two in the chat in a couple of minutes. So in conclusion, we are one with the creative consciousness of the universe. So the earth is us. By staying in this knowledge and awareness, we will be good stewards of the planet and live like every day is Earth Day. And so it is. Now I'd like to introduce someone that needs no introduction. Here's Tony Hamilton.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Joe. That was beautiful. Thank you. Today, I want to talk to you and discuss our personal connection with the earth. It's our home. It's the place where we live. But most of us encapsulate ourselves within the building that we call home. And that's where we spend our time. We also spend a lot of time in the building where we work. And we may look outside upon nature if we're blessed with having nature outside our windows or not. But we're really kind of encapsulated in a quote artificial environment the majority of our time. And it's that thing that we humans experience of separation. That feeling that we're separate from and not a part of spirit. That we're separate from and not a part of the earth. And we could go into a lot of possible reasons for this. Now, look, there are some of us that get out in Mother Nature, get involved. Some of us go camping, some of us go hiking, some of us are in the ocean and we surf, some of us fish. People go to the beach, but one thing that really, really disturbs me is people go to the beach and they bring music and they blast the music so that they're there, but they're not really present. They're not really with the beach. They're not listening to the surf. They're not necessarily conscious of breathing the fresh air or conscious of what's in the ocean. And so it's like parents that take their kids someplace, but they stay on the phone all the time. They're not present with their kids. They're not really there. So today I want us to really look at and think about what is our personal relationship with the earth and what do we really, really know about it. So the truth of it is most of us don't go too far on foot anymore. Yes, there are some of us that don't have cars, but we're not really like walking wherever we go and interacting with the earth, interacting with nature around us. Very often, some of us don't have much nature around us. And for those of us that do, we're busy and we don't really notice it or become a part of it. Most of us don't have an experience of being connected to the land these days. There are people that have gardens, but we don't farm like we used to. Most people don't hunt or fish or forage or store our food. We're not living closely to the land or off the land. When you live closely to the land or live off the land, We have a different relationship. We have a different experience. Now, don't worry. I'm not by any means suggesting that we have to go back to that. I know we love our modern conveniences. I'm not suggesting that we do that, but I am suggesting that we can still maintain a connection with the earth, that we can develop a spiritual practice around the earth, which is really our home, that we can become present to the earth, open our eyes, our ears, our senses, and explore the earth and explore her treasures and her gifts and get to know the earth and the life that we really share this planet with. Get to really know her beauty, the complex ecosystem that exists, and become aware of the interdependence and the interconnectedness of all of life, because it's something in that separation that I truly think we're not aware of. We may be aware of it intellectually. We may see, oh yeah, sure, I can see that, but not really have an experience of it. And have an experience of the way spirit expresses through the earth, through nature. And so I'm going to share some of my experiences with you. I hope you don't mind, not to talk about me, but to give examples of what it is that I'm referring to. And so this is not to imply that no one has a personal relationship with the earth. Please don't misunderstand me, but to encourage us to deepen our personal relationship with the earth and maybe develop a spiritual practice in doing that. So whether you're in a park, if your home is in nature, if you're blessed with having a lot of nature around you, if you're walking along the ocean or seeing snow-capped mountains, wherever you are in nature, the earth is grounding. It's relaxing. It's peaceful. You experience a sense of freedom and a sense that there is something more. And so one day when I was young, I think I was maybe barely in my 20s. I've shared this, I think, once before. I went to a park that was a little ways from my home, and I sat down and leaned against a tree to meditate outdoors, out in the ocean. And I remember having the feeling that I felt so sad for the tree because the tree was stuck there and didn't get to move around and experience the earth and experience all of life and see the different things, because if you're in the Northeast, you have one experience of nature. If you're in California, you have another. If you're in Brazil, there's another. In the Caribbean, there's another. And I remember feeling sad that the tree was stuck there in the ground and couldn't fully experience all of life. And I sat down to meditate. And in my meditation, the tree spoke to me. I know that sounds woo woo and it sounds crazy, but look at my face. I am telling you my personal experience. What came to me, what I was taught, what I was informed of is that the tree is not stuck, that the tree is connected to all of life through its roots, through its branches, that it interacts with and moves with and is informed by the wind, by the birds, by the different animals that come to visit it, that it experiences life. that it is not stuck or limited to its location or the physical form. That was such a powerful experience for me and taught me so much. And I felt so full and so blessed by that. And of course, I never, ever forgot it. There is a place in Jamaica that I've spent so much time in my life, a spot that I go to meditate, and it's by the ocean, and there's a wall, and I sit on the wall, and I don't know, maybe the wall is 6 feet high. And where it's located, there are rocks, and the ocean, I don't think right there the ocean is any more than 2 feet, if that. Okay. And the sun filters through the water and makes patterns and highlights different things in the water. And there are crabs that like try and climb up on the rocks and the wall, but they can't, they always fall down. And as you look out with the sun filtering through the water, you may get a glimpse of a fish or of a baby stingray. And it's just such a beautiful spot and such a beautiful experience. And I have sat for hours and watched the crabs and watched the light dancing through the water and watching the animals that go by with their different colors. And it's just an experience that allows me to feel grounded, to feel free, to feel safe. And I always, when I have to figure something out, when there's something really important, very often in the past, because I used to go 2-3 times a year with my family, and very often in the past, I would wait until I could get to that spot and meditate before I would make a major decision. And always, always, if there was something troubling me after spending some time there, I felt empowered and I knew exactly what I needed to do or not do and what was for me. And so I have another experience that I want to share with you. And there's another location in Jamaica that I went and did some prayer work. And it's a place where you can kind of go down off the road and just kind of hide and be by yourself. And I was really, really moved by something. I felt this connection. It was almost like a surreal experience. And I remember at the end of my prayer, just as an aside, as an add, and it came to me to ask not to be so afraid of the ocean, because I was sitting in front of the ocean and I almost drowned when I was a kid, and I was petrified of the water. It was a big deal in high school. In college, I got in the pool, and it was a big deal for me to stand in 3 feet of water and just put my face in the water. And then I would take the water off real fast because I was so frightened. And I just added this little prayer at the end. And I went to the beach with my sister later, and she said to me, I have a surprise for you, we're going to do something later, and I said, okay, great. Well, the surprise was to go out in a glass bottom boat. Now mind you, I'm petrified of the ocean, and you put on a life vest and everything, and I'm there, and I'm holding onto the boat, and I'm praying. I also get seasick, and I'm praying, and people flipped off the side of the boat to go snorkeling. And the guy asked me, did I want to go? And I said, no, I'm afraid. And he said, I'll go with you. Anyway, making a long story short, they got me off the boat, and I was so afraid. I was grabbing this man's hand. He told me, relax, I was hurting his hand. Okay. And I had a snorkel mask on, and he said, put your face down, just look, and I just looked, and I saw the rocks and the fish, and I was so nervous but it was an answer to my prayer that I had prayed maybe not more than an hour and a half ago. And that was the beginning. There were many things that happened after that. Someone that I became close friends with had a sailboat, and I went out on this sailboat and would go out in a little dinghy with him and snorkel, and he would hold on to me. But it was a gradual shift in me not being so afraid of the water. And so I share this with you because I I want to exemplify that we can open to the presence within nature because it is God. When I'm at the ocean, when I'm in the park, wherever I am, there's an energy. There's something different that I feel, that I sense, and that I know I can commune with, not in words, but but I recognize that there's this something. And I know that this something recognizes me and hears me and responds to me. So I can't go into nature without my energy shifting. I don't come out the same way I went in. And let me be perfectly clear. I have been a big chicken. Like there's some places I won't go because I'm afraid of snakes, don't want to meet a bear. I can tell you everything you need to do to not have a conflict with a bear. Okay. So even though I have this fear because I've been disconnected, like we're speaking about also on some level, um, even though I have that, I've had these tremendous, wonderful experiences and the beauty, the complexity, the energy that I experience, it impacts me. It opens my heart. It calms me. It teaches me. It touches me. And it feels like love. The people who live close to the earth are the people that are the most connected to the earth. Indigenous peoples in Africa, in Australia, Native Americans here on this land, they have a history, they have a relationship, they have an awareness and an understanding, a deep connection with the earth. And traditionally, they live in a reciprocal relationship with the earth. They use everything they take, they don't waste anything, and they have a reverence for life. They know that they do not own the earth, they do not own land. It's a gift, it's entrusted to them, and it supplies them with everything they need. And in turn, they respect it and are good stewards of the gift. People who are connected to the earth don't destroy the earth. You're probably aware of some of the indigenous spiritual practices. Stone people lodges, it's called sweat lodges. We call it sweat lodges. It is where a fire is no, it's where it's a whole spiritual practice, but you go within this lodge to purify your mind, your body, your spirit, and to open yourself to spirit. There's a vision quest, which I'm sure many of you are aware of and heard about. There's a spiritual practice of honoring the four directions. I'm just mentioning a few that I'm sure almost all of us have heard of. Indigenous cultures are steeped in spiritual practices that involve, that honor, that listen to, and give back to the earth. And so I just wanted to share with you and invite you, even if it's just a walk in the park or along the beach, to maybe develop a spiritual practice of being in connection with the earth. And if you already have it, to deepen your spiritual practice, at least when you're there, to maybe leave the music off for a little while and listen to the sounds of nature and look around and look deeply and really notice what's there. and see if you don't feel the energy that is there. And so, in closing, I'd like to share a poem. This is called Ego Poem. It is by Joy Harjo. Joy Harjo is a Native American woman. She is the United States Poet Laureate. She has been since, I think, 2019. An Ego Poem is from her book, And Mad Love and War. To pray, you open your whole self to sky, to earth, to sun, to moon, to one whole voice that is you, and know that there is more. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That there is more that you can't see, can't hear, can't know, except in moments, steadily growing, and in languages that aren't always sound, but other circles of motion. Like eagle that Sunday morning over Salt River, circled in blue sky in wind, swept our hearts clean with sacred wings. We see you, see ourselves, and know that we must take the utmost care and kindness in all things. Breathe in, knowing that we are made of all this, and breathe, knowing we are truly blessed because we were born and die soon within a true circle of motion, like eagle rounding out the morning inside us. We pray that it will be done in beauty, in beauty. Let's take this into treatment. And so, what I know is that there is a power and presence that is the creator and source of all life, that it is within all life, that it expresses in and through and as all of life, that there is an interconnectedness, like I am the wave to the ocean, I am the breath within the breath within the breath. And I declare and affirm with this word that for each one, that wave radiates out into the infinite, and it radiates out as love. It radiates out as a knowing that has not been known before, that life is precious, that I have a responsibility to maintain that life, to participate in the creative process, to participate in the ongoingness of creating everything that is like God, that is a divine expression of God, that is perfect, whole, and complete, that is light and love, that is harmony and balance and beauty and joy and freedom. I affirm with this word that my one small little piece of wave radiates out through the ocean of life into the infinite, affirming love, expressing love, claiming love, resonating with love, and knowing that no matter what, I am divinely guided and inspired. No matter what, there is always a way. There is always an answer. And there is the oneness that is love. And so I affirm with this word that as each one of us has an experience of nature and experiences nature in the presence, within the presence, that each one of us is changed, that each one of us, our hearts are touched and moved, and there is an awareness of the truth so that we walk differently on this earth. And so I simply release this word into the law, knowing that it is God, knowing that it is the truth, and knowing that the divine essence that I call God makes it so. And so it is.